Hello there everyone and welcome to another episode of Career Mode. So today we're going to Monaco, and yeah, as you can see here, three updates have been put into the car. The only one that failed was the front downforce, so yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but we still got 3 upgrades for this race, meaning that we're going to be quite competitive here in the streets of Monaco. As far as the components, yeah, the gearbox is starting to wear off, 62%, but I think it's the first time ever in a career mode where it might just be fine for the race. Anyway, practice 1 was really good. I was able to complete, I think, almost all practice sessions, all practice programs. I got 4th place, so really promising pace overall. As you can see there, all the practice programs were indeed passed, only one remaining to perfect, but yeah, a lot of resource points already in my side, and a lot of them already here. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually go to the rear downforce. As you can see here, I'm going to invest the points I gained from practice and put it right here, and the next group of points that I get will be to upgrade the front downforce that didn't go into the car. And here I was able to finally perfect the qualifying pace. And yeah, once again, 4th place, both practice sessions in 4th place, so yeah, like I said, really good pace. We seem to be right up there, and I think we might once again reach Q3 after Australia. Yeah, one thing that I did forget to mention so far is the race is going to be on full wets, at least for the beginning of the race, so wet Monaco for us will be interesting.
We're here at the magical Circuit de Monaco for one of the most challenging qualifying sessions on the Formula One calendar. Who can add their name to the illustrious list of Monte Carlo pole sitters here today?
And here we are qualifying in Monaco. It starts out wet, but actually the fastest tire compounds are the dry ones, the slicks. I actually went in to check if the wets or the intermediates were indeed faster, but they were not. But another interesting thing is that the mediums and the softs are pretty much the same pace, so I decided to go on my first lap on the mediums and just put in a lap because I'm not going to use them in any other way, so I might as well do a banker time in these and just get them out of the way and get the first run in, because I'm confident that I can get into Q3 quite easily, so it's not really much of a problem. And it actually put me in 11th place. At least at the beginning of that lap. I started to fall down a bit, but I was still in the fray in Q1 with the mediums, so that was really good. But yeah, I was dropping off, but I was gaining time in the first sector, and yeah, in the next few ones I'm going to hopefully get more. As you can see here, I'm going purple in the second sector. So, although I'm out in Q1 right now in 18th place, I just knew I had the pace to get to Q2 pretty easily on one run in the softs, so that's exactly what I did. I'm in last place, but this lap puts me in P3. And I also think that this was my fastest lap of the weekend. I think it was in the 9 seconds? No, 10s. Sorry, kind of forgot there. Yeah. 10.7 and only 2.5 tenths away from provisional pole from Leclerc, I believe. So pretty good pace once again. Raikkonen in 11th place. He can do better, and hopefully he will do better for the next ones. But yeah, it was actually Vettel who did the fastest lap, and we're only behind the Ferraris on Q1 in intermediate, sort of, interchangeable conditions. And yeah, that was pretty much it for Q1. Q2. Yeah, this was just me setting, a lap here. As you can see there, although you didn't understand because I don't have the delta, that was my first lap, and that puts me in 11th place. So, yeah, sorry about saying so many times. We're in this position right now. Bottas didn't do a lap until right at the end, so we are in 12th place. As we start our final lap on Q2. And like I said, once again, I knew I had the pace to get to Q3. The updates really came in handy for me and Raikkonen, and at this point I just knew I had the pace, even though I wasn't able to do a fast sector 1, sector 2. Once again, I was the fastest car, and that was already almost 6/10 as I run into the wall and I actually get a yellow front wing. So yeah, a little bit of damage. And now that I look back, I'm not sure if I actually kept the damage for the next session, but I don't think I did. Anyway, this lap puts us in P5, and once again, another easy session. Q2 was very manageable. I knew I would get to Q3, and the pace is confirmed. Me and also KIMI are here. And unlike what I thought, this was actually, I think, maybe the fastest lap, but I think in Q3 I think I even go faster, so yeah. Everybody was still finding more time because of the wet conditions, and also the Reynolds, I think both of them were out in Q2. Also Weber was also in Q2 once again with the Williams somehow. And yeah, we're going to Q3. We're only going to do one run, which hinders us a little bit, hinders me a little bit. If I had two two sets of softs, I probably could have gone faster, but I only had one and I had to do what I could with it. I knew I was at least fast enough to get in the to the fourth row of the grid. The fifth one would be with the other team, so I knew I could at least get side by side with KIMI, because I was positive that at this point KIMI would probably get a really good lap in, and he actually did. And yeah, we're going right into the final corner. We get out, a good exit, DRS, and we're going to get a pretty good P8, our best qualifying session of the season, putting us right behind our teammate by 0.02 of a second. Absolutely incredible. We were able to snag the positions out of Norris and Perez, and yeah, we start from the fourth row. Alfa Romeo seems to be on a pretty good, place for the race. So yeah, great qualifying. I was beaten by KIMI once again, this time only 0.02 of a second. We're really close, and in the race it will be really hard to see who will come out on top, but I will give it. I can say that I gave everything, and in time you will see what happens. But yeah, it's pretty good qualifying performance from both of us, and Alfa Romeo is definitely improving. Anyway, there is going to be on wet conditions, and yeah, we're already updating the front downforce. We'll have 3 upgrades for Canada, so we'll be quite fast there as well. So Alfa Romeo keeps putting the car better and better. Let's go to the race.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. We already see the lowest average speeds of the season here at the Circuit de Monaco, and they'll be even lower in the difficult conditions today. 19 corners make up this famous 2-mile track, and with the rain, it'll be even harder than usual to get that critical heat into the tyres. Don't be surprised if we see a safety car at some point during the Grand Prix.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, obviously turn 1 is going to be a mess, and I will say that I actually had to do a couple of restarts so that I could be able to survive it. But yeah, anyway, once again saying anyway, I underfueled the car because we're starting in the rain. It says that it'll be dry by the end, but I just knew I would probably be better to start with less fuel. So that we might be a bit faster, because in full wet conditions I just don't feel that confident as the opposite it is the intermediate conditions where I feel very confident. So we have to wait 5 red lights and away we go. Pretty average start. The Norris is able to be side by side with us, but we sticking around the outside. We actually even go side by side with KIMI, but he takes the line and we're able to survive turn 1. Pretty close there. Yeah, we were able to keep Norris behind, try not to lose contact with the train ahead of us. 7 cars, including our teammate, and I was actually hoping that KIMI would stay ahead of us because I knew I would be slow in full wet conditions. So if KIMI would stay in 7th, it means that he might just be able to stick with the train, and I'll keep these cars behind, and we'll be able to grab, you know, a lot of points, and we're in the mid-pack, so all of the points matter at this point. Although we are already in 4th place, I believe, by quite a good margin, but, you know, I still want more. I want to be right there in no man's land behind the front teams. But anyway, as we go on to the end of lap 1, we are still, you know, we're still in striking distance from Raikkonen. It was a pretty interesting first lap. I was just trying to see how the conditions were, and I wasn't feeling really that confident. I felt like if I would do one small mistake at all, I would lose touch with the front running guys, and as you can see here, the last corner was a little bit rubbish. I didn't get a good exit, and I actually lost a bit of touch, just a little bit, not too much, but just enough for me to be able to acknowledge it. Anyway, we jump into lap 3, and at this point you can see that Raikkonen is starting to lose touch. I failed this corner in the middle sector, and I lose a lot of time to Raikkonen, and at this point I think I drop out of the 1 second margin, kind of. I'm like 1.5 seconds behind.
The tyre situation is an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got right now. Okay, gap ahead is 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, Jeff says that the tires, it's still, these are still the best tires, but as I look here, they were just overheating massively, and I felt like it was time for intermediates. We were starting to lose a lot of time, and I just had to ask Jeff if those are the tires.
Okay, I think it might be just about time to come and change these tires.
And yeah, he tells me that the intermediates at this point are clearly the best ones, or at least it was what I thought.
Alright, consensus in the garage is that it's probably about time for the slick tyre now. It will be slippery, but it will probably be quicker.
And then he goes on and tells me that, and I'm like, are you kidding, Jeff? We're in full wet, and you want me to go to slicks when it's still raining, and it's completely wet. The track is completely drenched in water, and he tells me to go to slicks. Obviously, I'm going to intermediates. These are the best tires at this point, and I'm actually the first one to pit. So yeah, it's a good strategy from my part, at least from what I believe. And while I was going on the pits, I realized that I had front wing damage, and actually, if you paid enough attention, just a few seconds ago, I actually clinched the wall a little bit. I touched the wall a little bit, and I got a little bit of damage. I only realized while I was in the pits, so quite interesting. And at this point, we were actually doing fastest laps, so really good. You know, I just had loads of pace at this point. I was feeling confident, and I was gaining a lot of time on Raikkonen. I actually gained a lot of time during the pits, you know, just by stopping sooner. I just got the best result out of it. Obviously, it could have been better. My first 2 laps weren't really that great, so I wasn't able to jump him, but I was in striking distance, and that's all that matters. And while this is happening, Perez is out of the race, an engine failure, and he won't be scoring points, meaning that my closest rival in the championship is not scoring points today. And once again, I keep doing the fast sector 2. Yeah, it's just a really strong sector for me. I don't really know why, because it's actually a sector where if you need kind of a little bit of straight line speed, and I'm running 10-11 wings, and I'm just faster than everybody there, even the front running teams at this point. And yeah, and right now I'm just getting really close to Raikkonen. I clearly have the pace over him, and I was building momentum, I was building confidence at this point. The tires felt great, and I was on the back of him. It took me, it didn't took me a long to get to the back of him, but at this point I felt like I was losing time, and I actually felt like maybe I could chase, you know, the front running guys at least a little bit, cut a little bit out of time, because it will be dry by the end of the race, or so they say. And I wanted to be as close as possible, maybe do an undercut, something like that, just get a few seconds out of them and maybe challenge for P6, but you know, it's really almost impossible, an impossible dream there. But yeah, I just wanted to get out of Raikkonen, and I just couldn't get a good exit out of the final corner. I was just always failing. I was always just a little bit slower, and you know, my really high wings meant that I just couldn't get close. But here I had a really good run, but after I filled the 4th gear, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to overtake him once again. But then here goes Raikkonen and leaves the door open. I think he missed the first corner, and I was able to overtake him. So an overtake on track on my teammate. I really wasn't expecting this. Raikkonen just left the door open for some reason. I don't know, as you can see here, he just left the door open, and I didn't need a second invitation. It was my first chance to overtake him, and I took it. I had to take it. And after that I was able to stretch away. I did the fastest lap, so you can see that I was the fastest driver on track at this point. The intermediate conditions just suited me, I don't know why.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
And yeah, at this point it was time for dry tires for the slicks, and I was going on the mediums. Also I touched the wall a little bit, so I was afraid that I got some front wing damage, but I didn't, so it was all okay there. But I had a lot of scares during the race because of the walls. I touched quite a few of them. Obviously we won't see all of them, but you do see a couple of them throughout the video. Anyway, we're pitting. The drivers ahead of us are also pitting in this lap. Everybody's pitting, even KIMI, and they're doing a double stack, and my stop was really slow. I missed the exit, and KIMI is just going to lose quite a bit of time. I was really scared for him, but fortunately he gets out, I think, yeah, he gets out ahead of the Haas, but Norris was able to jump him. So yeah, Norris at this point was looking real threatening in the race, you know, and I can tell right now that he actually started to take a lot of time away from me. At this point he was 5 seconds in lap 21, 5 seconds away from me, but as you'll see in just a moment, he is able to completely chop away the time and just get really close to me. In dry conditions, I was just nowhere, you know. I was losing time to Bottas, like a couple of tenths a lap, and Norris was able to recover quite a bit. And as you can see here, I almost lost the car there on the end of the first sector, but fortunately I was able to keep it.
Gap to the car in front is 7.3 seconds.
And yeah, 3 laps later, I'm already 2.5 seconds away from Bottas, and then next lap already 8 seconds. And yeah, every lap I was just getting away, getting further away from Bottas and closer to Norris. And then here at this point, Norris is under 1 second, meaning he has DRS on the straight, and I actually touched the wall there with my left rear tire, and I was really afraid, you know, that, you know, it might puncture or something, but fortunately nothing happened, and I was able to carry on. But I was really feeling the pressure from Lando Norris, a McLaren driver. He was able to really pull a lot of time away from me, and yeah, I was just getting further and farther away from Bottas. I mean, he's in a Mercedes, I can't really expect much else, you know. And yeah, anyway, we're going to the second sector, and Norris is right behind us. I'm actually able to get a pretty good exit, I think. I think it was a good exit. But Norris also gets a good exit, and he actually goes on the inside. I try to give him as much space as possible, but he still ends up hitting the inside barrier and loses his front wing. So yeah, he went on my inside, not a place to do an overtake like this, and I gave him enough space for him not to hit the wall, but he still did, and I almost hit the wall as well because of him. So yeah, you'll be able to see here just how much space I give him, you know. If it just went a little bit easier, he would have been able to do the corner side by side with me, even if just a little bit. And yeah, obviously he lost half of his front wing, so he had to stop, and that pretty much dropped him to last place. And from then on, it was just cruising home. Me and Raikkonen was never really threatening to me. We had pretty much the same pace. I had the pace over him just in the right places. I always seemed to get the better exit out of the corners, so I was able to keep the position throughout the last few laps of the Grand Prix. And yeah, as you can see here now in the mini-map, there is sort of a big train emerging at the front, yeah, besides the trains behind in the midfield pack. But yeah, the Red Bulls and the Ferraris are kind of mixed at this point. And yeah, they're really close to one another, like they fit in maybe under 2 seconds. I mean, these three are under a second from each other. But yeah, Leclerc is also there and Bottas is not far behind. And at this point, Hamilton was able to finish the race and comfortably win. It was a comfortable win from him. Another solid drive, and I think he extends the gap in the drivers' championship. Sorry, and also in the constructors. Mercedes is just untouchable. Anyway, I damaged my front wing even further on the last lap of all laps to do that. But at this point, it didn't really matter. I was going to get 7th place. I knew it. And it was just cruising on. It was even able to improve my second sector once again. I was just flying through there, but 7th place and 8th place, great ride from Alfa Romeo.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Lewis Hamilton wins another race, Pierre Gasly gets another podium, I think it's his second or even third podium of the season, and Leclerc as well getting another podium this season. I'm not really sure who are the contenders at this point. I know Hamilton is, and also at least one or two of the Ferrari drivers. But I'm not sure. I need to check out the table just like you. In other news, also Butler and Weber were able to score points, so our sort of rivals from last season from F2 were able to score points here in Monaco, and it's actually the first time Devin Butler scores points in Formula 1. So yeah, congrats to him, obviously, you know, first time with Toro Rosso. As well as Weber, he already has like 4 points by now in this season. The McLarens were nowhere. I mean, Norris was showing promise, but he ended up clipping the inside barrier through his own fault, and that's it, you know. Right now, Hamilton is leading the championship by 20 points over Vettel. We're in 8th place. We're right behind Perez, sorry, a weird pronunciation, 1 point behind. We were able to jump Racing Point, and we're now in 4th place, actually. I thought we were already in 4th place, but we were actually not. Just once again checking to see Norris in 17th place. I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, I just feel like it wasn't my fault. I gave him enough space. Just really weird situation.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
Things looked close between you and your rival for a bit, but you came out on top, didn't you?
Great fight with me and him. Really great.
You're beating all expectations. Would you say we all underestimated you?
She keeps asking me this every single race.
Did you feel comfortable in the wet weather today?
Not on full wets, yes on intermediates.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
Once again, really enjoyed it. Great battle.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Anyway, in the rivalry positions, we were able to tie with KIMI, but we won the rivalry, and also Lucas Weber, we are still leading by 4 points, so once again pretty good. We got a lot of resource points that we're going, I'm not sure, I think we're going to spend them today. I don't remember, I guess we'll have to wait a couple of seconds to find out, but 1300 resource points, so that's pretty good. We won 500 from the clean races. That it's just really easy to get that. I don't know why that's on medium difficulty, but anyway. We're going now to check the messages. I don't really remember that much. I already done this a few days ago. Yes, we're going to do an upgrade. Yeah, we're just seeing the downforce ones that are going into the car to Canada. We also have this one to Canada, so we are going for the cylinder head. Yeah, I remember, yeah, we're going for the cylinder head that hopefully will be in France in 2 weeks or in 2 races. we'll be able to change the gearbox 73%, and it didn't really cause me trouble. I think I only had like a moment in the race where I lost a gear, and that was about it. So pretty good, yeah. Now 3 upgrades coming into Canada, so yeah, hopefully they'll all fit and will be very competitive there. As far as any other things, yeah, we're now in 4th place in the constructors, yeah, 2 points ahead of Racing Point, so that's really great. KIMI finally scoring points. Unfortunately for him, he was beaten by me once again, but really great, you know, 6 points from him, I believe. No, 4 points. He was able to get 4 points, so really good performance from him. I get 10 points in a race, and Alfa Romeo is now on the charge and trying to get to the top 3 teams. That's what we're aiming for until the end of the season. Try and get as close as possible, because regulation changes will come this season and we don't know what's going to be, but hopefully we'll be able to jump quite a lot of teams. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and subscribe to check out more F1 related content and other games as well, and I will see you in the next one.